Lex Luthor Sucks has been relatively split, but it does seem like it is more negative than positive. I think, first of all, we have to go back to looking at expectations. A lot of people went into Batman versus Superman picturing the Lex Luthor that we're familiar with, the Lex Luthor from cartoons, the very controlled but devious Lex Luthor. Well, obviously, we did not get that Lex Luthor in Batman versus Superman. So the first point is it's just not a take that people are used to. Does that mean he did it bad? I don't think that's fair to say. I think it's simply just very, very different. He plays a sociopath well, and it is reminiscent of Heath Ledger's Joker from The Dark Knight. I do not believe that they are both too similar to each other. I think that Ledger's Joker probably did influence Lex Luthor, but I think it is different enough to merit him being an interesting villain. The reason I say this is because Ledger's Joker seemed to struggle with more extreme cases of emotion. He was obviously more into, getting a laugh out of everything. He was amused by everything around him, which is similar to Luthor, but it's certainly not to that extreme. And Luthor also is very dependent on his immense amounts of resources. The Joker was really all about kind of burning his money as it came in, creating states of chaos. Luthor is still more controlled. He has more overarching devious plans. He has a ton of resources, and his quirk makes him very hard to read, and it hides his scheming. And that is what makes Lex Luthor so interesting to watch as an audience, because it's very hard to figure out just exactly what Lex Luthor is thinking. We don't really know. We don't see a lot of his plans being set up. Like the Senate bombing is a really good example. He's telling the senator she's going to burn. But because he's set up such kind of an odd personality, we don't know if that's a literal threat, or if he's just talking about losing the case, or if he's talking about manipulating the case. We don't know. It's very hard to read him, and it's intriguing to see how he deals with his opposition. The Wall Street Journal compares Lex Luthor to Jesse Eisenberg's portrayal of Mark Zuckerberg, and that is a fairly common comparison. A lot of people are kind of drawing parallels between Eisenberg's style with Zuckerberg. I think that is a very overgeneralized opinion. The only real similarity is being socially unconventional. Lex is far more giddy, devious, and he does show a lot of emotional frustration. You can see how he's struggling when people kind of push against him. Zuckerberg was very short, dismissive, and sarcastic, but we don't get any of this overly giddy type of personality. We don't see any deviousness. He's just simply dismissive. He just tells people, you have the minimal amount of my attention, and that's all you're going to get. He's just very socially unconventional, but it's really nothing like Lex Luthor. Just because two roles are not socially normal does not make them the same role. I actually think there is a lot of nuance to both of those roles. And Lex, if you put him as Lex and him as Zuckerberg in the same room, they'd be completely different. The interaction would be wild. Another common one is that Lois Lane is pointless. Well, it is obvious that Lois Lane is a lot less prominent in this film than she was in Man of Steel. She really will always need to exist. And why will she need to exist? Because she serves as Superman's biggest weakness. Obviously, there is kryptonite, but without Lois Lane, there is no real way to plan or to attack Superman. Her existence is necessary because she essentially drives the plot. As a character, she is interesting. She's obviously a very passionate journalist. There are some scenes that go a bit far just to try to justify her character, but she certainly needs to be in the movie. If she was not in the movie, then it would not make sense for Lex Luthor to be able to force anything to happen concerning Superman. She also serves to humanize Superman, which is a very common theme throughout the movie. She shows that Superman has the ability to love, to care, and to emotionally hurt. And if she did not do that, then Superman would appear even more stiff than a lot of the critics are saying. So please let me know what you guys think in the comments, and if you like videos like this, hit the subscribe button so we can make more of them.